There it is. All right. I don't know what happened. All right. So, hey, Ethan, it is Wednesday night. I was preoccupied. Sorry, I'm a little late. So, let's do some announcements while some people sign on. Like and share it out. Like and share. Prayer requests in the comments and or praises. If God's doing something, by all means, encourage the rest of us. That would be awesome. All right. Phil Becker. Is that the Word of Life Island? No, this is Lake Winnipesaukee behind me. This was the year that we rented as a family an island, literally, and it was cool. It was cool. Oh, World of Life? Whatever. I want to say this, guys. Let me add this to our announcements, if you don't mind. Warriors one night. It's August 2nd, which is a week from today. So I might not actually be live next week. We'll see. It starts at 6:30 to 8:30. It's at the Haverhill campus of Granite United. Look it up on Google. Look up Granite United. You'll see all their locations. If you're able to, this night is it's a one night. They're calling it the fifth session because at Warriors Conference we had four sessions. This is the fifth one. This is designed for those of us who went to get that fifth session in to see where we are this many months away. And then also for those who didn't go to Warriors Conference, this could be your chance to test out the waters and see what it's like. So I promise the music will be amazing. They also had a Shine one night conference. It is tonight, the fifth session of Shine. I was just watching it. Some people are playing it live on Facebook, and I was quoted. So that just got Anthony Milas all hot and bothered, and so he had to tell a bunch of pastor friends of mine and myself that he had to leave the room because he was tired of hearing my name. So I think that's great. The great part is I just caught a glimpse of it, and Anthony's daughter got up and quoted the girl who quoted me. So it's awesome. Just life is good. All right, so Warriors one night, guys. Spread the word. If you can make it, do it. I think I'm going to hit it up and see if I can't go. And hey, Tim. Oh, look it. You got internet way up there in Lincoln? That's cool. I hope you're having a good time. I appreciate you tuning in. That's cool. All right, so Warrior one night, and if you're part of my small group of gentlemen, by all means, make that a plan. Maybe we can make that our August outing because we're going to miss July because I'm lame. That's what it comes down to. Excuse me. All right, let's pick up in chapter 2 of Nahum, because we've discussed that each chapter, and we only have 3 chapters, so it's going to be pretty easy, I think. Last week, we looked at chapter 1 and how God is going to send judgment on Assyria. It's been 150 years since Jonah and all that took place, and God is finally fed up, and he's gotten to the end of his patience. And we also discussed a little bit in detail about how God is jealous. He doesn't get jealous like we do. Actually, sometimes I compared it to if you have a wife and you get jealous because she's yours. It's not like I'm jealous because that guy has a great wife. That's wrong. But if you have a great wife and you say, "Hey, I'm jealous of her," and someone starts to flirt with her, no. And that's the kind of situation we have here in Nahum. And so Assyria is going to get. So we looked in chapter 1. God is jealous and Nineveh will fall. Well, it gets more determined in chapter 2. All right. Hey, Andrea. I haven't heard Pastor. Wait a minute. Man, tune in on Wednesday nights. He's here every week. I almost didn't make it. I have this like allergies again, or either that or I'm sick and I just can't breathe. I can't. Oh, it's awful. So if I start coughing, I'll pause you because it's awful. Anyway, now I've last couple of weeks I have been out of the pulpit. It's been sweet. I did preach at Granite United, which is always just a thrill for me. And then I filled in for Russ because there was a situation at his church which kind of messed with their scheduling, and I said, hey, I'm free because Bill was preaching his last sermon with us and was hate to see him go, and I'm sorry I missed it in person, but I did watch it, and Bill's just good people. He grew into a fine young man, and I hate to see him go. And this week is my son-in-law Stephen Lucas, which you guys love, so I'm taking the opportunity to get away for the weekend with my wife because July 29th is our 34th wedding anniversary. So we're just going to go away for a couple of days and we'll be back hopefully. And next Wednesday, guys, again, if you're part of my group, especially, let's make the Warriors one night. Let's make that our thing. All right, 6:30 to 8:30 on Wednesday night in Haverhill. And oh, that's not tropical. That's New Hampshire. But it's awesome. I would love to live on that island. I really would. We do like Stephen Lucas. See, I told you. It's okay. That's okay, because Anthony Miles right now is taking pictures with my daughter and my daughter-in-law because he just loves to rub it in when they're at his church. All right, let's do Nahum. Let me bring up your Bible. Oh, I didn't. I need to bring it up for you. I can't share the screen with two things at the same time. I'm just not that good, or the app's not that good yet. There it is, Nahum, the fall of Nineveh. Let's go 13 verses. Now, this is interesting. I thought this was interesting. Just in my reading in the Hebrew Bible, Nahum chapter 2 starts in right after Nahum 1:15, which we looked at last week. And so that doesn't really mean anything, but I thought it was interesting. Your enemy, verse 1, is coming to crush you, Nineveh. Man the ramparts, watch the roads, prepare your defenses, call out your forces. Let me make sure I have the NLT. Okay. Even though the destroyer has destroyed Judah, the Lord will restore its honor. Israel's vine has been stripped of branches, and he will restore its splendor. Shields flash red in the sunlight. See the scarlet uniforms of the valiant troops. Watch as their glittering chariots move into position with a forest of spears waving above them. The chariots race recklessly along the streets and rush wildly through the square. They flash like flashlights and move ever so as swiftly as lightning. Some people have actually gone so far as saying that verse 4 is prophecy of automobiles. There's a word for that in theology. Stupid. Okay, there you go. Verse 5. And the king shouts to his officers. They stumble in their haste, rushing to the walls to set up their defenses. The river gates have been torn open. The palace is about to collapse. Nineveh's exile has been decreed, and all the servant girls mourn. This is going to be important. Verse 7. All the servant girls mourn its capture. They moan like doves and beat their breasts in sorrow. Nineveh is like leaking water reservoir. The people are slipping away. Stop, stop, someone shouts, but no one even looks back. Loot the silver, plunder the gold. There's no end to Nineveh's treasure, its vast, uncounted wealth. So the city is plundered, emptied, and ruined. Hearts melt and knees shake. The people stand aghast, their faces pale and trembling. Where now is that great Nineveh, the den filled with young lions? It has a place where people like lions, notice lions keeps showing up, like lions in their cubs, walk freely and without fear. The lion tore up the meat of its cubs and strangled prey for his mate, and he filled his dens with prey, his caverns with his plunder. I am your enemy. There's something you don't want to be on the wrong side of God. I am your enemy, says the Lord of heaven's army. Your chariots will go up in smoke. Your young men will be killed in battle. Never again will you plunder conquered nations. The voice of your proud messengers will be heard no more. That is God saying enough. Now, again, I just want to remind you, a lot of the times you hear, well, why doesn't God just stop evil? Well, he is stopping evil here, and this is when we go, wow, he's going to wipe them all out? Is that good? You can't have both of those things, okay? Let me just hit this. Any requirements to go, like a ticket? I bet we could just show up, but I can check on that, Ethan, and let you know. I'll try to figure that out. Boop, boop, boop. That might be, well, I don't have the picture up anymore, but I can check on that for you. I think there was a RSVP or something like that, but then he looked at me at a meeting, Anthony did, Pastor Anthony, and he said, I think Bay State can come to this. You guys are close. I said, I'll try. It was not a whole lot of notice, but I said, sure. And I know a couple, again, my daughter's there tonight and my daughter-in-law, Kelsey, so I hope they're having a good time. All right, so Nahum chapter 2, It's a joyful announcement that Nineveh has fallen. This is actually a really brief chapter. It's only 13 verses. It says in verses 1 and 2 that Assyria has emptied Israel in 721. Now, remember, Israel is the northern kingdom, Judah is the southern kingdom because they had a civil war. And Assyria went in there and basically wiped out Israel. But Judah gets the promise, no, you won't be wiped out by these people. It just won't happen. And now God was going to restore his people by punishing their enemy, which is very cool. We want to be on the right side of that, don't we? And then in verse 3, the Medes, remember the Medes are going to be part of this. The Medes and the Babylonians are going to beat up the Assyrians. God's going to use those two nations to beat up Assyria. And the Medes, now check this out. This is why this is important. Shields flash red in the sunlight. See the scarlet uniform of the valiant troops. Watch as their glittering chariots move into position with a forest of spears waving about them. They actually, in history, the Medes wore scarlet uniforms and used scarlet shields, and the enemy would actually look with their swords and their spears and the lances would look like a walking forest. And so that is historic right there for you. All right, verse 4, the chariots race recklessly. Oh yeah, please don't misinterpret that this is the modern day automobile being prophesied. It's just silly. All right, we just find some of the strangest things, don't we? All right. Oh, look it. Andrea put up a link there, Ethan, if you want to try that out. You can sign up with the above link. There you go. All right, cool. I don't think I'm welcome because they like me over there and Auntie doesn't like that. All right. I think I'm just going to show up. The river gates have been torn open. All right, Nineveh, verse 7. This was important. Nineveh's exile has been decreed, and all the servant girls mourned its capture, and they moaned like doves and beat their breasts in sorrow. Now, forgive me for a second. I'm going to spin whoop, and go up here to Biblegate. This is very convenient. I'm going to go to the New King James Version, and I'm going to search, and we're going to go to verse 7 again. Now, this is what it says in the New King James. It is decreed, she shall be led away captive, she shall be brought up, and her maidservants shall lead her as with the voice of doves beating their breasts. They're going to be crying and moaning, like the NLT says. Now, the NLT's kind of said it differently, but most scholars think when it says she, see that? She and she? That it's talking specifically how the queen will be brought out and humiliated, and her maidservants shall lead her as with the voice of doves. So let's see, verse 7. It's thought to refer to the queen being led away in great humiliation. Let me change back to the NLT. I thought that was kind of interesting. So we're at verse 8. Nineveh is like a leaking reservoir. Actually, let's move down to verse 11. Where now is the great Nineveh? Now, this is important too. This is a little history for you. Then that den filled with young lions has its place where people like lions and their cubs walk freely and without fear. A lion tore up meat for its cub and strangled prey for its mate. He filled his den and prey, his caverns with plunder. Verses 11 and 12. Note the repeated reference to lions. The lion was a symbol of the Assyrian army. Again, archaeology they have dug up things where the symbol for that nation was a lion. All right, now be careful, because I remember taking Daniel class, and when Daniel saw all these beasts coming out of the sea, we discussed Daniel, and all these beasts, well, they represented certain nations and world powers throughout history. And some people say, wow, because there's a verse that says where the young eagles will rise up. And I actually heard a professor say this to me, and I couldn't believe it. He said, well, see, young lions, the lion is the symbol of England, and a young lion would be the offspring, which would be America and the colonies. So there we are in scripture. Oh my goodness. In Daniel, a bear comes up. Well, at the time when I was in school, the bear was a symbol of Russia. Russia's not in Daniel. Well, not clearly in Daniel. It's in Revelation, but that's a different story. But you can't take pictures well, the lion, because the lion here is Assyria. All right, so be careful of that kind of prophecy in interpretation, because it just doesn't work. Because nations change. The map has changed since I've been alive several times, especially on the other side of the earth. Most of America has stayed the same. Actually, just before I was born, we added Hawaii and Alaska, and somehow Puerto Rico is a commonwealth but not a state, and all that. All right, so verse 13. I am your enemy. God brought the Medes and the Babylonians against Nineveh and permitted them to spoil the city and take its wealth. That's what that's all about. For 150 years, God had waited for Assyria to turn, and she refused to. It looked good 150 years ago, didn't it? And we had our hopes up high, but it has to be maintained. Your faith has to be maintained, because the book of Hebrews in the New Testament, there's a little phrase that just sticks out to me. I forget where the verse is, but you can look it up. Look it up in the King James or the New King James, probably. And this too shall slip. Things that we consider things that we are just dedicated to and devoted to, and then all of a sudden they slip because we don't maintain, we don't stay on top of it. And so we got to be careful of that. And then finally, God is judge among the nations, and at this point he must act. He must act because he is just. And it's no one can look at him and say, well, this is just mean. No, 150 years ago, he prepared a fish to swallow a disobedient prophet to make sure the message got to them, so they could have a chance to avoid all of this. That's grace, but we don't look at it that way, because, well, that's something. And oh my goodness, really? I've recently heard some stuff on that. The passage is a passage where God says, I want you to go to the Canaanites and I want you to wipe them all out. Well, you got to look and interpret the scripture right. That passage, if you want to look it up, it's hyperbole. That's the way some people speak. It's like when you say this place has the best ice cream in the world. Well, that's hyperbole, because you have not been to every ice cream place in the world. And so you might have a favorite, but that doesn't make it the best in the world. So it's lighten up, sunshine. That's like how many times I told you 1,000,000 times. That's hyperbole. Okay, I didn't tell you 1,000,000 times. And so when he says wipe out all the Canaanites, and how do I know that? Because if you keep reading, you got to stay in the context of which it was written. It says, and don't marry them. Well, how can I marry them? You just told me to wipe all of them out. No, he's kind of like, if we talked about if we went to the Red Sox game and they were playing the Yankees, and we would say, whew, and the Red Sox won, and we came home and we said they annihilated them. That's hyperbole. They didn't annihilate them. They beat them in the game and we won. But we use hyperbole, and that's what the Lord was using there. So be careful. I know, just wipe them out. No, just make it so they're not a world power anymore. All right. So that is Nahum. We got from the first part that God is jealous, and we looked at that. This part teaches God is judge, and there's no stopping that. And again, remember, he's jealous because his worship is being taken. His place in their heart and their lives is being taken by other things. And I think we take that lightly, especially in the 21st century, because I preached Bay State 3 weeks ago, Granite United, and pretty much I did mostly, I modified it a little bit, but the same sermon for about 7 services. And one of the points was churches meet together. Why is that such a foreign concept? And the great part is on my Facebook feed, I'm getting the video clip of Andy Stanley saying, I hear, this was during the COVID season, and he said, I hear a lot of people saying that God commanded us to assemble, to gather. And he did this kind of arrogantly, and he said, he did not. Well, no, he didn't say that exact words, but he said, don't neglect the gathering of yourselves together as the manner of some is. He said, matter of fact, gather more the closer the day of Jesus coming back, because the word church means assembly. It means gathering. Gatherings gather, assemblies assemble. So did he tell us to gather? Yep, he did. So you're not designed to do this alone, because, again, these things shall slip. All right, that's it. That was pretty quick. I got 10 minutes. Ooh. Whoa, Tim just found out, according to their Facebook post, they will also have 2024 Warriors tickets for sale. Oh, I wonder what kind of discount they can come up with that. All right. Well, I put that picture away, but thank you for doing that research at the last minute like that. All right, that is Nahum chapter 2. Again, don't be late on Sunday. Steve's speaking. That's going to be great. I want you to pray for that family. They've been staying at our house the last couple of days. They had something that happened in their apartment that they could not live there for a little bit. Hopefully, it'll be fixed by the time I go away for the weekend. That'd be nice. But right now, I have 11 people staying at my home, and 1 cat and 1 dog and a fish. So I think, well, that's our personal best at any rate. And let's say that. And 3 little girls running around, and 1 just sitting there because she's only a couple months old. She's adorable though. Anyway, what's new with you guys? What's new with you? I have a couple of, I knew we'd have extra time because that was a short chapter. I have a couple of trivia questions if you're interested. Let me see if I can find a good one. La 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 la. Oh, here's a good one. Which deep space TV drama clamshell communicator inspired Motorola to develop the first handheld mobile phone? Which deep space TV drama clamshell communicator inspired Motorola to develop the first handheld mobile phone? I was wondering if you're out there, Russ. What? Sitting in my office thinking of my friend Russ. He got me that. Look at that. That's pretty sweet, huh? And I brought this one too. That is Black Adam. I thought it was a good movie. All right. Russ, you're the first one on my screen to say it right before Sandy. So we're going to go with Russ. Sorry, Sandy. I'll take you away for the weekend. What do you say? All right, let's see. What else we got? In tennis, what is it called when a player wins all 4 major tournaments in the same year? In tennis, what is it called when a player wins all 4 major tournaments in the same year? I didn't know that. Whoa! Grand Slam is correct. I thought you were just a baseball guy in golf, and now I know you know tennis too. Oh, Evan knew tennis. Wait a minute, Sandy told me, forget it. Is that about going away for the weekend? Uh-oh. Well, it's going to be quiet because we have a reservation. I'm going. Oh, and she was robbed. It is rigged. You have that one. I do have a Star Trek communicator. It did stop speaking to me because I must have burned out the battery or something. I actually had it so I could say Tim's name and it would dial it and call him on my communicator. It was awesome. All right. Anyway, Evan got Grand Slam. Sandy got Grand Slam. This is the order in which they appear on my screen. Honestly, your screen is broken. And reservations are in my name. But my money's got to be somehow connected, doesn't it? All right, let's try something else. Let me look at the answers first to see if I like them. Ooh. No. Oh, I like this one. Which animated image format was invented in 1987 by Steve Wilhite, an engineer at CompuServe? I'll read it again. Which animated image format was invented in 1987 by Steve Wilhite, an engineer at CompuServe? And Tim, he did. He came up with the GIF. And Ethan. Oh, let me see. Oh, yeah. Ethan, nice job. But Evan. Wait a minute. I'm scared to answer before. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Let's see. Oh, I think this is an interesting. Let's see. This is a sports question, Russ. Which sport does the term scrum come from? I think I'm saying that right. Scrum. What sport does that come from? Scrum. You are amazing. I had no idea. It is. It's rugby. Very good. All right. Let's see. What's this yellow one? Oh. Oh, here's a history question. Which cabinet post did Aaron Burr hold when he killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel? What was his job? Aaron Burr. Which cabinet post did Aaron Burr hold when he killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel? I didn't know that. I'd even check that. That doesn't even make sense to me. Oh, Brian McGrath got rugby. So did Andrea. Oh, now I'm going up, but Russ, you got it. Russ, I'm looking for Sandy's name. I don't see her. So you're gonna. It was vice president. He was vice president. I didn't know that. Do you know what Alexander Hamilton position was? This shit, sweet. Alexander Hamilton. Anybody know what his position was? I think Sandy's picking up my daughter, so I think you're safe. Alexander Hamilton was the Secretary of the Treasury. Matter of fact, for some reason I know this, but if you look, no, that's not him. Oh, it's on the. I don't have a 10. If you have a $10 bill, Alexander Hamilton's on the front, and on the back is the U.S. Treasury. Do. All right, what else we got? Nope. All right, one last card. I took a couple of them out here. Oh, I like the answer to this, so we're going to do it. In which year was the first successful human heart transplant performed? Here's the choices: 1967, 1970, or 1977. In what year? Am I holding that up? There's the answer. Okay. In which year was the first successful human heart transplant? And Evan Steele is correct. I chose that one because I was born in 1967. Oh, sorry, Tim. Sorry, it was 67, everybody. All right. Oh, here's a great sci-fi one. I like this. I remember this. In 1979, I would have been 12. In 1979, the movie Alien features which frightening tagline based very much on astronomical reality? I would have wrote that differently. That was a long time ago. Never mind, Tim. I was born. Oh, I don't know. Is he trying to make up now? I don't know. In 1979, movie Alien features what frightening tagline based very much on an astronomical reality? What was the tagline for Aliens? It's a little phrase. You want me to give you the first two? In space. In space. Get a minute. In space, no one can hear you scream in space. Well, that's redundant, but yes, in space, no one can hear you scream. All right. And Evan got it too. All right. Well, Russ is the sports guy, I take it. He knows rugby stuff. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, it is 8:00 straight up. Guys, if you can make Warriors next, I know it's short notice, but it's next Wednesday, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Haverhill campus. Canosa Ave. Don't put street in your GPS. It's Ave, because I've done it a couple of times and ended up at the wrong place. But great group of guys. And if you can meet me there, that'd be cool. So I probably won't be doing live next week. We'll see. Maybe I'll pre-record. We'll see. But good night, Shannon. I hope you're having a good vacation. I will see you guys hopefully at least a week from Sunday. It'll be August. Yikes. So again, if you have any prayer requests or praises, put them in the comments here for the rest of us to see. And love you guys. And I will be talking to you. Bye.